Welcome to Straight Talk About Carbon, a content partnership with Agoro Carbon Alliance on Brownfield Ag News. I'm your host, Megan Grebner. With us today to talk all things carbon and Agoro Carbon Alliance, Shawntel Ervin. Good afternoon.
Hi, Megan. How are you?
I'm doing well. To get things started today, let's tell everybody or give everybody a little bit about your background and what you do at Agoro.
Sure. I'm an agronomist at Agoro Carbon on the grower success team. But before that, I worked in precision ag, and I got my master's and bachelor's degree from Oklahoma State in agronomy, specifically focused around precision nutrient management. So I've always kind of been in that, cutting edge side of ag. And that's the reason why I'm at Agoro Carbon as well, because it's the new shiny thing, and everyone's trying to figure it out, and I like to be there for that.
Well, we're glad to have you today, and I look forward to this conversation. This series has been so interesting, learning more about the carbon space and learning what Agoro is doing to help support growers along the way.
Yeah, it's that's what our team does. So I am happy to chat with you today.
All right. So as we get things started today, let's talk a little bit about success and supporting success. And one of the biggest things that we hear is that farmers and ranchers have concerns about how they can have support. So how do you help support their success through the contract or through the carbon contract, and not just once you get them signed up?
Yeah, so Agoro has hired a whole team of agronomists and carbon experts really from across the country to support the farmers and ranchers really through the life of the contract. And it's not something that growers will pay for. It's something that's complementary, and it is just kind of based on need. What questions the growers have, and our team is specifically focused on grower success. And so that's what we will do going forward every day.
Shawntel, let's talk a little bit about what happens once the contract is signed. What are the growers' next steps from there?
Yeah, so once they get all of the paperwork out of the way with the contract and the legal documents, they can expect us to come in and collect 3 years of historical data. We will also be soil sampling their farm to create that baseline, and then they can expect issue of payments and then support for those practice changes going forward.
How does the grower success team support growers then for the life of the contract?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I think our team is really focused around education. So educating growers and ranchers on carbon practices, the procedures, what qualifies technically as a practice change, talking about different scenarios, such as the use of different machinery in a no-till or a reduced tillage situation, or what covers qualify for the practice change. Walking through that soil sampling process, what measurements we take, how we use the measurements, and really what we do with it after we measure how much carbon is in their soil. We offer support, like I said before, for those practice changes. Our team is knowledgeable from everything from range and pasture to row crop situations. We have people from Pacific Northwest all the way down in the Mid-South where I'm located. We will do farm visits as well. So again, it's kind of based on need. If the grower wants us out there, twice a year, we'll come out there and we'll talk through things. Because like I said earlier, it's a new and kind of unknown a little bit. I think we're all trying to fit the pieces together, and really having that support and having that person that they can go to make sure, like, if things go off the planned path, who do they talk to? What can they do? Is there any flexibility in the program? And we'll maintain that contact with that grower throughout that life of the contract. And, we also ensure that the soil sampling gets done, the practice changes gets done. There are some things that we'll actually have to do as well, other than just the education fund side of things. But, and we're also ensuring that the true up payment. So after we soil sample and we true up to see how much carbon actually was built, we make sure those payments get dispersed as well.
When you talk to farmers throughout this process, how does this support play a role in where they're going to make their decision, whether they want to sign a contract or whether this is a space? How important is the support process to that in the relationship with your growers?
I think it's really important. And I think it is really in every facet of agriculture. I think agriculture is built on business. It's built on relationships. I think people will pay a higher price sometimes for inputs just to maintain that relationship. So how that doesn't apply necessarily to what we do, but I think in general, ag is just such a relationship building and business, I guess, that I think it is very important, especially since our program is 10 years. I think that's, that grower success team is going to be there for the life of that contract and be there as that go-to person and that trusted advisor to really, solidify that what they're doing is correct and going to get them paid and get their carbon credits verified in the end.
Shawntel, you mentioned the life of the contract and your carbon program is 10 years. Why 10 years? And what does that mean for your team?
Yeah, carbon takes a long time to sequester in the soil. So you have to have a long enough contract to be able to measure that and to be able to allow that to happen. But I think it highlights the need for our grower success team. Like I said, several times, we need the relationship with the grower. We need that trusted advisor because it is a long time and it's scary to some growers. But our team is there to help advise and is there to help the growers through like what happens if we're, for instance, if it was extremely wet and somebody has to till in a no-till situation, or they have to till in a reduced till situation to get that soil to dry out, something that you can't plan for. But in ag, it's going to happen, right? So having that person there that they can go to and ask those questions, I think is just important. And you don't just need that in year 1. You need that in year 5. You need that year 6. You won't always have the same questions because all years aren't the same, right? So I think it just highlights the need for our team and highlights kind of what our team will do for the grower. And we just need to make sure that carbon is being captured and the data is being collected. And, it takes a long time. So we'll have to be there through that life of the contract.
It's almost like raising a child, right? Like different stages have different areas that have questions, and you may not know what happens in year 4 or what's going to happen in year 7, but having that expert right there with you along the way in that journey really seems like it would make a big difference.
Exactly. And that's why Agoro's put so much resources into maintaining this team and building this team of agronomists. And then, like I said, from the Pacific Northwest, all across the U.S., down where I'm at in Arkansas. So we've really invested in that team as well.
Shawntel, let's talk a little bit about data requirements. What do producers need to know or have to participate? And then what are you doing and using the data for? And then we'll get into maybe who has access to it, because I think that's probably a big question too.
Of course, it's always a big question. Even before I was with Agoro, data is also like data management is like a new thing, right? So growers have always been interested. What are you doing with my data? Who can see it? That type of stuff. But first and foremost, we don't sell data. We're really not a data company. We're not in it for your data. We have to have your data to be able to verify the carbon credit. The verifiers have to have your data. So we do have to collect some data, but just be reassured that we're not selling it. We're not letting people see it outside of the organization. outside of the verifiers. That's really the only people who see your data. And we need it, again, to get the carbon credit verified to make sure that it's a real thing that can be sold. It is different depending upon which project you enroll in. So whether you're a row crop farmer or you're a range and pasture rancher. And some of the different types of data, I guess, would be like your borders for your fields, very basic there. We have to know where your fields are to be able to soil sample them. Crop type, we have to know what's growing on your field. Yields are sometimes growers kind of ask why you need my yields. And that's really just to ensure that the practice changes aren't decreasing your yields, because we never want to do something on your farm that's going to have a detrimental effect, right? So we have to make sure that yields aren't going down. You know, if you're in like a nitrogen program, we have to know how much nitrogen you're putting down on your fields. Also, if you're a rancher, we have to have livestock information. So weights, type of livestock, calving information, rotational grazing information. And the reason, again, why we need that is for our practice, but we want to make sure it's not having a detrimental effect to the livestock that is grazing the range and pasture. One surprising thing that people always kind of get a confused look on their face about it is the fuel requirement. And again, we're just trying to make sure that what we're doing on your farm or the practices that we're asking you to change aren't having a detrimental effect to your farm. So increasing fossil fuel usage on your farm year over year, we don't want to see that. So we do require 3 years of fuel data just to make sure that we're not increasing that fuel usage.
Shawntel, I really enjoyed chatting with you today and learning more about Agoro Carbon Alliance and some of the steps along the way. As we wrap up today, we talk about grower success and customer service. What sets Agoro Carbon Alliance apart from other companies in terms of that aspect?
I think it is the grower success team, the team of agronomists that we have that are out in the fields with the farmers. We're really trying to create this alliance or this partnership with the farm. We don't sell inputs. We don't sell anything other than trying to buy our carbon. We are strictly that carbon company focused on helping the farmer and rancher grow their carbon. So you can trust, or the ranchers and farmers can trust that we are unbiased, and the recommendations that they will get from us and the advice that they will get from us, it is truly in the best interest of that farmer or rancher. And we're just trying to help them along and build that carbon and help them increase their soil health. And at the end of the day, that's what we're there to do. And I think that sets us apart just because we are that unbiased, strictly carbon company for that farmer.
It's always nice to have an expert to help you along the way when it comes to big projects like this, right?
Yeah.
Shawntel, thank you so much for your time today. If folks want to find out more information, what's the best way to do so?
Well, you can go to our website. You can, there's a phone number on there you can call. We're always around farm shows, get our cards, give me a call, and we can chat. So really, any way you want to go about it, Facebook, contacting us through LinkedIn, any of those avenues.
All right, Shawntel, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. To learn more, visit agorocarbonalliance.com. I'm Megan Grevner with Straight Talk About Carbon, a content partnership with Agoro Carbon Alliance on Brownfield Ag News.